Good morning, children. So in agriculture, today we will go to the part technical and institutional reforms. Today's topic is technical and institutional reforms in agriculture. So in India, agriculture has been practiced for thousands of years. Nearly 60% of the Indians, they depend on agriculture for their livelihood. So agriculture is the mainstay of Indian economy. But what happened here? We have developed irrigational sources by developing dams and constructing canals. So the irrigation development in India has gone up. But still our Indian farmers, they depend on monsoon for their agricultural activities. And they depend on natural fertility of the soil. So this is a big problem because it cannot feed thousands of people. Our country sees a very vast growth of population every year. Every day population has been growing. So now a farmer cannot follow old methods, age-old methods. So we need some reforms. That reforms are called technical and institutional reforms. So we practiced agriculture for thousands of years without introducing any technical changes in our agricultural practices, without any institutional changes in our agricultural practices. So now the government has taken many steps to develop agriculture. The first one is institutional reforms. What is the first one? Institutional reforms. So in institutional reforms, there are four parts. The first one is collectivization. What is the first one? Collectivization. Collectivization means going for collective farming instead of individual farming. So all the farmers in a village or in a community, together they will take up agriculture in a large part of land. This was actually practiced in Soviet Russia during Russian Revolution to develop agriculture. The same way in India also this idea was introduced. What is that? Collectivization. Collectivization means collective farming or community farming. The next one, consolidation of land holding. You know very well, in India we have inheritance of properties, that is inheritance law. Father's property goes to sons and daughters. So now lands get fragmented. Suppose your grandfather had 10 acres of land, then he had 2 children. Then your father would have inherited 5 acres of land. Your father has 2 children, it goes to 2.5 acres of land. Then further it goes to 1.5 acres. It goes down like that. So that is called fragmentation of lands. So now because of fragmentation of lands, land holding pattern in India, it's very small. Every farmer has a very small piece of land that is not useful for development of agriculture. So they went for consolidation of land holding. Consolidation of land holding means making lands in a scientific way so that we get large farms or large lands for agriculture. So that is a second institutional reform, consolidation of land holding. Then cooperation, developing cooperatives in the villages, cooperative societies which will provide all type of facilities to the farmers so that they can take up their agricultural practices. And the last one, abolition of Jamindari system. So before independence in India we had Jamindari system. Jamindars were the big landlords. They used to have thousands of acres under their ownership, and all the other people in the villages, they were just working as laborers or serfs. Okay, so this is called a Jamindari system. Only 1 or 2 people in a village, they had lands, and all the others, they had to depend on that lands which were owned by the Jamindars, where people suffered a lot. So this system was abolished by the Indian government. It was removed. Jamindari system was removed and the lands were divided and given to the landless poor after the independence. So these were the institutional reforms which were also called land reforms. What are they? Collectivization, that means collective farming, consolidation of land holding, making larger land farms, cooperative societies and other things being formed, then abolition of Jamindari system. So these were the reforms which were called institutional reforms. they are also called land reforms. So now these land reforms were introduced immediately after the independence, but they were not so effective. The implementation means bringing that idea, land reforms, into practical approach, it was very lukewarm. What is the word? Lukewarm. Lukewarm means very slow and not effective. So land reforms were not effective. So the government had to go for other reforms. So in the 1960s and 1970s, our Indian government went for introducing some agricultural reforms. In the 1960s and 1970s, our government introduced agricultural reforms. What are the things in agricultural reforms? See here, Green Revolution, White Revolution and Blue Revolution. What is Green Revolution? Introducing HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds, chemicals and fertilizers. These are called the factors of Green Revolution. So the government went for modernization of agriculture. High yield variety seeds, hybrid seeds were introduced in agriculture. Fertilizers were introduced. Insecticide and pesticides were introduced to bring large quantity of agricultural products. So in 1960s, rice, millets, then wheat and other agricultural products, hybrid varieties were introduced for larger production. You know very well about this Green Revolution. In your previous classes, you might have studied. Then White Revolution. This is a production of milk in large quantity. It is called White Revolution. More milk being produced. It is also called Operation Flood. So with this, our milk production went up. Then Blue Revolution, developing fish culture, growing more and more fish. So all these come under agricultural reforms. So now this developed very well. Our India's growth rate in agriculture increased more. Our production increased more. We became self-dependent in agricultural products. But this led to the development of only a few pockets in India. Only a few states developed because of this Green Revolution. What are the states? Punjab, Haryana and parts of Uttar Pradesh. Punjab, Haryana and parts of Uttar Pradesh. So only these three states, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, they developed very well because of this agricultural reforms. What comes under agricultural reforms? Green Revolution, White Revolution and Blue Revolution. But the development expected for the whole country did not happen. The development in agriculture happened only in three states, Punjab, Haryana and UP, Uttar Pradesh. So now in the 1980s, the government went for one more program. What is that? Comprehensive Land Development Program. What is the program? Comprehensive Land Development Program. Now this included both institutional and technical reforms. So the government introduced a variety of schemes for the farmers for their benefit, for their development. What and all were introduced? See there. Provision of crop insurance. What is the first one? Provision of crop insurance. So the government has given crop insurance. Sometimes crops would get destroyed because of drought conditions, floods, fire or insects. In recent times, you know, locusts have come in India from Pakistan and African countries. They have destroyed almost 5 lakh hectares of land in northern parts of India, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana. Even 2 days before, the locusts have attacked Haryana. So now this has become a big problem. So in these times, the crops get destroyed. So now farmers will get insurance for their crop. So that is called crop insurance. So under this comprehensive land development program, the government introduced crop insurance system. Then establishment of Gramin banks, establishing banks in villages, cooperative societies and other banks, so that the farmers will get less interest rate for their loans. The cooperative societies or the Gramin banks, they provide loans to the farmers but with a less interest rate. You know about the famous Paula Vaddi scheme introduced by our late CM Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy. Less interest rates. The next KCC, Kisan Credit Card. KCC means Kisan Credit Card. So with this, farmers will be getting some loans. PICE for the farmers. Personal Accident Insurance Scheme. PICE means what? Personal Accident Insurance Scheme. This is also for the benefit of farmers. Then in the TVs and radios, special weather bulletins were introduced. So in the evenings or mornings, you might have got some programs for the farmers. They come up with the weather bulletins. What type of climate is there? Whether there will be rains or what will be there. And they also gave guidance to the farmers how to cultivate crops scientifically. So there are regular special weather bulletins in radios and TVs for the benefit of farmers. Apart from that, the government also has introduced MSP. What is MSP? Minimum support price. So now the farmer produces good, but he has no chance to fix rate for his products. Whereas all the other companies, whatever goods they produce, they fix their rates, they fix the prices for their products. But farmer is never in a position to fix the price for his own products. So the government itself comes up and it takes the products from the farmers by giving some proper money. That is called minimum support price, MSP, minimum support price. So for every year, for wheat, for chilies, for sugarcane and paddy, the government fixes minimum support price. They also sometimes the crops may get disturbed or destroyed, spoiled because of rains and other things. So during that time, the government comes up with the remunerative prices, means minimum price the government will give and it will take the products, so that the farmers would not be disturbed or the farmers did not get disturbed by the middlemen, dalaris they will say. So if you go to the markets, you can see this middleman, dalaris. They will tell one rate to the farmer and they will sell the product to the merchant to another rate. So because of this, farmers, they are in heavy loss. So to avoid this middleman role and farmers being spoiled or farmers being cheated, they have introduced this system, MSP, minimum support price, remunerative prices and other things. So in this way, farmers are getting more benefits. So after 1980s, the government has gone for comprehensive land development program. In this, farmers are given many useful beneficial activities like crop insurance, establishment of Gramin banks, cooperative societies in the villages to give loans to the farmers in a low interest rate, KCC, Kisan Credit Card, PICE, Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, special weather bulletins from TVs and radios, and good prices for the products of farmers. What are the MSP, minimum support price, remunerative price and procurement prices. So these are the technical and institutional reforms introduced by our government for the development of agriculture in India. I hope you understood the part. Revise the video twice or thrice to get all the ideas familiar. It's an important question for annual exam. They will be regularly asking this question. What is the question? Describe the technical and institutional reforms introduced by the government for the development of agriculture. Thank you.